Hello everybody and welcome back to Study with Julia. Today I'll be showing you guys all the books that I managed to buy over this summer. It's kind of a little book haul, I guess you could call it. And I've got 10 books to get through with you guys and we'll kind of discuss what they're about. Some of them I've read already, so I'll give you guys my honest review on them. And yeah, let's get right into it. Book number 1 I've already read, Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. I believe I gave it 4 stars, and yeah, it was very good. I liked it. I don't know if you guys watched the video. I think I read this in my What I Read in a Week, and yeah, I love this book. It was very, very good. Why was it not a 5-star? It just didn't feel like a 5-star. You know, like sometimes you know in your heart, it just wasn't a 5-star quite so. Unfortunately, I can't find like a little blurb here because I got the cloth-bound classic. I found one online for the book, and it states, the daughter of a starving English artist and a French chorus girl, Becky, is orphaned at a young age. Even as a child, she yearns for a more glamorous life than her birthright promises. As she leaves Miss Pinkerton's academy at Chiswick, Becky resolves to conquer English society by any means possible. And it also discusses the family life and the relationship she has with her friend, Miss Amelia Sedley, and how both of them kind of get around in life. So yeah, I did really enjoy this book. It's probably the longest one I've read this summer, with a total of 867 pages. So, you know, it was quite good. But yeah, I really liked it. And also I just love physical copy, like hardback copies. I don't have many that I bought in summer, but yeah, I really enjoyed this book. This isn't my first piece of writing I read by William Makepeace Thackeray. I read the Rose and the Ring, something like that, but I 100% preferred this much more. Okay, book number 2. I'm actually reading book number 2 right now. It's So Not Meant to Be by Megan Quinn. I've got my little makeshift bookmark in there because I've forgotten it. I'm like maybe halfway, but yeah. I'm actually liking it so far. It's a bit, you know, it's very tropey, and the trope is extremely obvious, so I think I kind of know where it's going to end up. But we'll see. There's still plenty of time for it to change, because I'm not even halfway through, so I'm not going to put a rating or anything, because you never know. But the blurb states, am I in love with J.P. Kane? He certainly thinks so. He's annoyingly loud, obnoxiously handsome, and having watched When Harry Met Sally, is convinced that men and women can't just be friends. So when we have to fly to San Francisco for work and stay in the same penthouse, I'm happy to prove him wrong. Yet, with his continuous flirting and his polished good looks, I'm soon finding it hard to sleep at night. Guess who can control herself? This girl. Because if there is one thing I know for certain, it's that J.P. Kane is wrong. Men and women can just be friends, and we are so not meant to be. So yeah. Not gonna lie, I picked it up just because I liked the cover, and I don't have many read books. That's not a good enough reason to pick it up, I know, but every time I go into town and I go into the works, and I'm like, I need to get at least one book because it's so like cheap there. So this one drew my eye, and I'm trying to branch out a bit more and just read more random books, and I'm actually enjoying this. So you know, it's all good. Okay, this is book number 3. My mum bought a couple of books in Poland, so this is a Polish book. And I'm guessing it would be translated to, like, the weird happenings, the weird coincidences about our DNA, something like that. Weird happenings in our DNA. It's actually translated into Polish because it was written by Sam Kean. If you guys remember, once more, I read one of his books, The Disappearing Spoon. I think it was also in the What I Read in a Week on Summer Holiday video. I'll put that video in the description if you guys want to watch it, but yeah. So that's why, if you remember, I gave that book 5 stars, so I'm excited to read more books from this author, because it was brilliantly explained and told of. So the blurb of this reads, I translated it on my phone. Many of the topics covered in this book are still in development, and each chapter of our DNA reveals an answer to one key question. Our main story begins with the birth of microorganisms in the distant past, then moves on to our animal ancestors, especially other primates and hominids, such as Neanderthals, and ends with the emergence of modern man with his flowery tongue and overgrown brain. As we approach the final chapter, however, the answers to subsequent questions become more and more open. There are ambiguities leading to the question of what will lead to humanity's great experiment in turning everything we know about DNA upside down. So it's just an exciting book to read. It's also quite a thick one, and because it's written in Polish, it might take me a little bit longer, just because they always make everything unnecessarily long in Polish, I feel like. But yeah, my mum wants to read this too, so, you know, if that tells you something. Okay, book number 4 is another Polish book, but once more it's only translated into Polish because it's Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. Once more, I love this author, Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice is easily one of the best books I've ever read. Yeah, so I love... Well, that's the only book by Jane Austen I've read, but I mean, I'm excited to dive into her world deeper. I've got my puzzles down there, which are a whole Jane Austen world with all the characters. And yeah, I really can't wait once more it's written in Polish. It might take me a little bit longer than usual because it's probably going to be written a bit trickier than usual, but let's see what it's about. Once more, translated it here, but 19th century provincial England as the background of love, passions, mistakes and successes. Belonging to one family does not always mean the same material status. Fanny Price is the eldest of many offspring of one of the 3 sisters who had the worst marriage years ago. Fanny is a very interesting name. I don't think I've heard the name Fanny before. Her wealthy sister, Lady Bertram, guided by a good heart, takes the girl to her home to take care of her upbringing and education. Quiet, calm and eager to help, Fanny won't find her place at Mansfield Park right away. Despite the good intentions of Mr. and Mrs. Bertram, she is not treated on an equal footing with her cousins Julia and Maria. And I lost my space, I shouldn't have done that. The girls themselves, but above all their aunt, Fanny's mother's sister, treat her in advance as being at the mercy of her rich relatives. Fanny, okay, that's Fanny's mother's sister, that was too much for me, but okay. The only one who shows Fanny heart is the younger of the Bertrams' 2 sons, Edmund, the future minister. His sincere concern for the girl in the first period of her stay in a new place and help in sending a letter to his beloved brother win him her love forever. The Bertrams lead a very family life. Okay. I'm guessing like a very family-centred life. And there is a vicarage in the neighbourhood where the pastor's younger siblings come. It's also not very far to another great manor. There are opportunities and places for young people to make acquaintances and thus also sympathy and love. Okay, so it's quite clear. You can hear the Jane Austen tone, and I'm excited to see, knowing that there's a great manor close by. Is it going to be a Mr. Darcy-esque story? We'll see. And I'm very excited to find out, but yeah. 4 books down, 6 or 7 to go actually. Is it 4? Yeah, I think I counted wrong, guys. I think I bought 11 books, not 10. We'll see. Okay, now we have book number 5. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read this book already. I read it while I was on holiday. I started it. I liked it, but not massively. So I gave it 3 stars. My reasoning for that was, I feel like it was just a bit not my style. So I see how people could have liked it, but personally for me, no. 3 stars isn't even that bad if you think about it. Like, it's good because the hype was so big for this book, and then turn up ready to read it, and it deserved hype, but not as much as it got. I think that's what it was. But yeah, I don't know. It was still a good book. I would probably reread it. Secrets and that, but realistically, I'd prefer rereading another book instead. I've read better books, that's what it is. Reclusive Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique Grant to write her story, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. From making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s, to leaving show business in the 80s, and of course, the 7 husbands along the way, Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in tragic and irreversible ways. One more comment I just wanted to put about this book real quick. I think, like, seeing all... TikTok may have ruined it for me, because I saw, you know, that audio. I'm not going to say the audio because it contains spoilers, and if you haven't read this book, I don't want to spoil the book for you. But yeah, I think that I kind of knew what was going to happen because of that. And I wasn't expecting to read this book. Then I saw it at the works for a really cheap price. I was like, might as well. So I bought it, and maybe it could have probably been, if I'm to think properly, it could have been 4 stars. But because that didn't hit me as hard as it probably should have, that twist didn't hit me as hard as it probably should have. But I'm here to tell you what I read and how I based it off of that, not what I think it would have been, because I don't know. So yeah. Next we have Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. I was a little bit angry because my cover, can you see that? As a whole. I did also already read this, and I gave it a 2 stars, because storyline, personally, not the best. And once more, I feel like it was just, I don't know, I feel like it was very much focused on the trope rather than the storyline. I get that tropes are big parts of the storyline, but it was just the enemies to lovers, enemies to lovers, enemies to lovers, which kind of took control of the whole book. However, I liked it. Personally, I know I don't have many chances to read about, like, Indian, you know, just much about the Indian culture, and certainly not Indian love stories. I don't think I've ever read one before, so this was quite interesting to, you know, see the culture and how the dating world revolves. Is different for people with different cultures, and yeah, but it was just enemies to lovers. But you know when it's enemies to lovers and you know that the lovers part is coming, that's what it was. That's what I was like, ugh. But it was still a good book, kind of. It was alright. Would I reread it? I don't know. I quite liked, like, the they've got these text parts, which I guess makes it more interesting to read, and it kind of breaks it up a bit. But yeah, I mean, the blurb is actually quite long. Karina Mann dreams of having a love story like her parents, but she prefers restoring her classic car to swiping right on dating apps. When her father announces he's selling her late mother's home, Karina makes a deal with him. He'll gift her the house if she can get engaged in 4 months. But a search for a soulmate becomes impossible when her argument with Dr. Prem Verma, host of the Dr. Dill show, goes viral. Now, the only man in her life is the one she doesn't want. And then it's also, like, the limited time, like, you know, limited time trope as well. You know, they need to get together. Dr. Prem Verma is dedicated to building a local community health centre, but he needs to get donors with deep pockets. The Dr. Dill show was doing just that until his argument with Karina went viral, and he was left shortchanged. That's when Karina's meddling aunties present Prem with a solution. Convince Karina he's her soulmate and he'll regain funding for his clinic. Even though his views on love matches and arranged matches conflict with hers, Prem finds the more he's with Karina, the more he begins to believe she's the woman he wants to spend the rest of his life with. But for Prem and Karina to find a happily ever after, they must admit that hate has turned into fate. That was quite smart, hate into fate. But yeah, still a bit indifferent to this book, so. We're over halfway, guys, don't worry. Book number 7 is The Manette Family, Pearl. This book is by Weronika Anna Marczak, so a Polish author. It's a bit of a tricky name. This is, I think it's only a Polish series. I don't think you can get them in English. But I've read the other, 4 books. I've got all of them up there. And I really like it. I got this from my my godfather and my aunt. So, very, you know, it was like a present for my 16th. I've loved the series so far. It is kind of tropey, you know, gangster brothers do anything for you. But it's good. It's this, do you know what? I think this is my, what's the word? It's my guilty pleasure, this series. Because I feel like I shouldn't like it, but I love it. So I haven't read this book yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. And we'll see. I'll read you guys the blurb. If a few years ago, someone had told me I was going to live with my 5 older brothers, whom I would love so much, I would have laughed at them. There's a very interesting thing that happens right at the beginning of the series. I don't want to spoil anything. I guess I've already spoiled the gangster brothers, but I don't think that's too deep. You learn that quite early on. Something happens before that, but I think it's important to not spoil that because it is quite big. Changes the whole trajectory of her life, actually. So we sat for another moment in silence, both processing in our minds the amazing fact of how far our relationship had come. I never imagined having such a strong bond with anyone. It's also a completely different kind of understanding than the one I had with my mother, or I hoped that maybe in the future I would have with my husband or partner. This kind of understanding was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, strong and indestructible. They're the most important to each other. Haley, Vincent, Will, Dylan, Shane and Tony risk their lives for themselves. They do have English names because it's set in America, but it's a Polish book. And although the 6 of the Manettes, I don't know if it's Manettes or Manets, but have fewer and fewer opportunities to meet together, they share an unbreakable bond. And they do. It's really fun watching that bond develop, and it's really cool. I really love the series, even if I feel bad for loving it, but hey ho. Last 3 books, we're almost there, guys. Next one is a very, very short one. It's a collection of essays that I, once more, also read in the week of reading in my life of summer holidays, something like that. It was tricky to explain. I can't remember what title I gave it, but you guys can check in the link in the description because the video will be linked. But we've got We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is a good book. I've read it already. I gave it 3 stars mainly because I feel like, I know it's a collection of essays, but I really, really, really would have loved if, we could have delved deeper in the topic of feminism, because I feel it is a really important topic. There are also certain things that I didn't agree with. Maybe not that I disagreed with, but that I would have said differently. But overall, I think it's a really important and fantastic book to read. I'd urge you to read it strongly. So if it's on that scale, I've said that I'd give it 5 stars, but otherwise I just gave it 3. And a short excerpt of the story. That's what makes up the blurb, and I'll just read it out to you guys. I'd like to ask what we begin to dream about and plan for a different world, a fairer world, a world of happier men and happier women who are truer to themselves. And this is how we start. We must raise our daughters differently. We must also raise our sons differently, which I think is a very key point. And I would have loved if there was some more, because I feel like really, how many pages? It's 52 tiny pages. So I'd have loved if we could have delved into the topic a bit more. Okay, these books, both of the next books I bought yesterday. So first one, I bought Rogue by Elle Kennedy, and it's a prep novel. It's the second book in the series. I haven't read the first one, but I read the blurb and I was hooked. I've never read a book by this author, which is weird. You can still see the price. Not shamed. Get it cheap wherever you can. But yeah, it seems like an exciting book. I've never even heard about this. I just picked it up, read the blurb, and I was like, do you know what? I might give it a try. So I'll show you guys why it seems so exciting to me. Welcome back to Sandover Prep, where secrets lurk in the dark and no one is safe when they come to the light. It's been a long time since Casey Trescott has felt her life was her own. After the car accident that nearly cost her everything, she's used to her family's coddling and the relentless whispers at school, no matter how much they sting. After all, she's found a safe harbour in her budding relationship with Sandover's golden boy, Fen Bishop, or so she thinks. Beneath Fen's pretty party boy surface is a dangerous truth about the night Casey almost died. He thought lying to her was the right thing to do, but when the secret starts to shake loose, he just might lose her for good. Because Casey is done being taken advantage of. Grasping for the control she's been missing, Casey finally snaps, telling off her bullies, gallivanting with rebels and playboys, and shirking her headmaster father's strict curfews despite the consequences. A desperate Fen must ally with his stepbrother RJ and other Sandover delinquents to uncover the full story of Casey's accident and the ones responsible if he hopes to win her back. But what happens if Casey is no longer the same girl he first fell for? Is there any hope for their future if she's gone rogue for good? That certainly interested me. You know, this is a New York Times best-selling author, so I think it's going to be good, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this book takes me, because it seems pretty good. As you guys can probably see, the piles, you know, it's grown quite tall. It's quite big now, which is good because we're on our final book of what I bought this summer. I mean, I've got a week left, but I doubt I'll be buying any more books because I've got like 9 books in my physical to be read list, probably something around that. You guys can add me on Goodreads, by the way, if you want to check if I'm lying or not. I'll put that link down in the description as well, and feel free. I'd love to get some of you guys to be my friends on there. That'd be pretty cool. This book I'm really excited for. The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. Once more, you guys can see I got it from the works. I've heard so many good things about pretty much all of Richard Osman's books, and I've never read anything by him, so I'm really excited to give this book a try. This is from, I think, the Thursday Murder Club series, and it seems pretty cool. I've seen a lot about it. I haven't delved into what it's about, but I just saw the author and I was like, I should probably give one of his books a try. So I picked out this one, and I haven't actually even read the blurb. This is going to be the first time, so let's see if it sounds exciting or not. 4 unlikely friends, a shocking new murder, and a bag full of diamonds. It's the following Thursday. Elizabeth has received a letter from an old colleague, a man with whom she has a long history. That sounds interesting already. He is being hunted and he needs her help. His story involves stolen diamonds, a violent mobster, and a very big mistake. As bodies start piling up, Elizabeth enlists Joyce, Ibrahim, and Ron in the hunt for a killer. And if they find the diamonds too, well, wouldn't that be a bonus? This time they're up against a ruthless murderer who wouldn't bat an eyelid at knocking off 4 septuagenarians. Did I say that right? I don't know. Can the Thursday Murder Club find the killer and the diamonds before the killer finds them? Ooh, that is good. That does sound very good. Yeah, I'm excited. That sounds very good. I'll keep you going. Oh, damn. Yeah, no, I'm excited to read it now. That certainly caught my attention. And that's it, guys. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment maybe if you've read any of these books, or maybe what books you guys managed to buy or read over the summer holidays. And also please do subscribe because it means a ton. Remember, some of these books were featured in my What I Read in a Week on Summer Holiday video, so I'll put the link in the description. My Goodreads link will also be in the description if you guys want to follow me. And yeah, I'll see you guys all very, very soon. Bye bye.